Welcome to your exploration of the Aquarius zodiac sign. Aquarius is the water bearer, the one who brings social change equally disseminated amongst all people, bringing big revolutionary, futuristic, and progressive ideas, technologies, and change. This is the sacred rebel, the indigo child. Aquarius solar cycle is from January 20th to February 18th. So if you were born during these months, you will have your sun sign in Aquarius. My Jupiter is in Aquarius in the first house at 15 degrees of Aquarius. What about you? Where is Aquarius expressing itself in your chart? Or during this time of year from January 20th to February 18th, we'll particularly have the opportunity to connect with the Aquarian energy. And as the age of Aquarius really gets going at the beginning of the Great Conjunction, winter solstice, 0 degrees of Aquarius, Jupiter and Saturn, the Great Benefic and Great Malefic, are uniting for the first time in 20 years, beginning a whole new cycle of ushering in a humanitarian age. Aquarius also rules over technology, being a futuristic sign, and even the internet. Some say astrology itself, too. Aquarius's ruler is Uranus. Uranus is the higher mind. It is this electrifying, unstable energy like electricity. It is the planet of change and sudden shocks. So you can imagine the revolution, like the tower in Tarot. Aquarius's tarot card, though, is the star. The star is here on the shores of the water. She is here in reciprocity, pouring water from the lake onto the shore. So Aquarius is like the star shining bright in the night sky, like so many of them, bringing forward change. A masculine fixed air sign, masculine assertive, air, cerebral, intellectual, and fixed, stubborn, obstinate. So Aquarius, very contradictorily and super interesting that although super progressive, very stubborn, and is not going to change its mind about its ideals. So like a mutable energy is like will ebb and flow and adapt. No, not like that. A fixed sign is very obstinate, even dogmatic. So it can be like dogmatic about the revolution, and there's no way it's going to change its mind in that way, and can be very driving and forceful with that fixed intellectual masculine power. So Aquarius is assertive and wants above all things independence. It's a freedom-loving sign, can be even reclusive, and Aquarius is so eccentric and unique and embraces and encourages others' uniqueness as well. So this eccentric, progressive, futuristic, rebellious sign can be even a shocker and independent amongst all things, loving freedom. Like we said, progressive, and even though progressive, very analytical too. Original and inventive. Strong dislikes and firm opinions. Like we said, fixed energy. So ruling planet is Uranus, the ancient Greek sky god and the first ruler of the universe. It was the first modern planet to be discovered in 1781, and prior to that, Aquarius was ruled by Saturn. In astrology, or in other systems like Vedic astrology, an older system of astrology, Aquarius is probably still ruled by Saturn. In astrology, Uranus is the planet of change, disruption, the unconventional, and the unexpected. It rules invention, aerodynamics, and modern science. So you can think of like this mad scientist, like Bill Nye and the Science Guy kind of energy too, wherever it comes to Aquarius. Progressive, futuristic technology like Elon Musk. The symbol, as we said, is the water bearer, dispensing a gift that flows freely and equally to all. So although the sign is the water bearer, it's not a water sign. Rather, the water representing equally a giving of life. The water bearer pours out, symbolizes truth, which you freely give out to the world. And its written symbol of the pictograph represents the water that flows from the vessel of the water bearer. It's also a picture of the human ankle in motion, the part of the anatomy that Aquarius rules. In symbolic terms, the ridged, unbroken lines represent electric energy, universal thought, and the wisdom of the future. And as always, we're reading from the only astrology book you'll ever need in order to enhance our exploration today. So the dominant keyword that Joanne has is not the one I would give. She says the dominant keyword is I know. I think it is I experiment. That's what I think that Aquarius's keyword is. The polarity of Aquarius is Leo. So Aquarius, both fixed signs, so it can be obstinate, dogmatic, stubborn, but Aquarius is showing up to shine the light for the collective. It's a humanitarian sign that really wants to see big social change, sweeping large-scale social change, not on the individual level. And Leo is all about the individual's self, and it's shining its light of the ego consciousness, and it's about serving the self and showing up for the self, especially in the performing arts. And so Aquarius is the oppositional energy of that. So the Leo sign is at the bottom of the zodiac, representing really our human concerns, and then these celestial signs on the top half of the zodiac, or the northern hemisphere. They are representing more of like a wise wisdom and celestial, more mature and divine expression, if that makes sense. Aquarius rules over the circulatory system, shins and ankles. And Aquarius natives are prone towards ankle sprains and breaks, also to varicose veins and hardening of the arteries. So something to preemptively be aware of there if you have a strong Aquarian energy in your chart. The lucky day is Wednesday, which is Mercury's day of the week. So I wonder if traditionally in the ancient times, Aquarius was ruled by Mercury even. Interesting. The lucky numbers are 1 and 7, and the magical birthstone is amethyst. It's the only one of the stones they mentioned besides pearls that I have on hand. So I must have a really strong inclination towards Aquarian energy. What about you? Which stones that we've explored so far do you just have lying around? That could be like an indication of your affinity, your astrological affinity. And of course, if you wanted to bring more Aquarian energy or any of the signs, you could gather these stones and crystals to start to intentionally cultivate those qualities in your life. The special color is electric blue, so to connect with the Aquarian energy, you could bring forward this electric blue because it's like electrifying, right? And the cities are Stockholm, Moscow, Buenos Aires, Salzburg. Countries are Russia, Sweden, Ethiopia. The flowers are orchids, the trees are the fruit trees, and the metal is uranium, as it's ruled by Uranus. The animals ruled by Aquarius are large birds, and the dangers are Aquarians are innovative, unconventional, and sometimes eccentric, and are therefore often targets for attack by narrow-minded people. Aquarians also have a tendency to get into unusual situations and take up with oddball individuals. So the most likable quality of Aquarius is friendliness. So it rules over your friendships, and its house is the 11th house. So there in your 11th house, you can see what are my relationships to friend groups and friendships. For example, if you had Jupiter in the 11th house, then it would mean you have very expansive friendships. And if you had the sun in the 11th house, it would mean that you gain like honor and dignity through friendships. Friendships are there to really help you out to achieve success in life. And if you had Saturn in the 11th house, it would mean you are learning wisdom through the harsh lessons of life in the area of friendship. So it might be challenging for you to make friends, or you'll have to really become very mature and take responsibility for how you show up in friendship if Saturn is in the 11th house. So Aquarius is the sign of the future, as we said, visionary sign. Unorthodox and original people, very eccentric, can be like wacky, witty madcaps. So we have like in Portland, the Keep Portland Weird vibe. So although we're progressive, I don't know if we're maybe futuristic, but progressive, Portland has that Aquarian energy too. Very intellectually independent and persistent, unconventional. They do not like boredom. And as well loves, to spend time alone, can be reclusive, but also is the sign of friendship. So there's paradoxes within the signs too. We all have needs to be reclusive and spend time alone, but also to be in friendship. So they don't necessarily cancel each other out if we embrace the fundamental paradoxes of life. A scientific and artistic term of mind, and I'm just pulling a few pieces to complete our exploration of the Aquarius Zodiac archetype before we enjoy a little meditation. Problems arise when your sense of identity becomes inextricably linked to your ideas. Like Gemini, another air sign, you have a lot of ego invested in your opinions. When others disagree, you take this as an attack on your personhood. Your fixity turns into willfulness and rebelliousness for the sake of being a rebel. You deliberately refuse to recognize that your idea isn't working in the real world of your relationships or career, and you sabotage yourself by insisting on your way, even if your way proves to be unfeasible. You are very people-oriented, addicted to the study of human beings, and an inveterate people watcher. You attract friends wherever you go. You have a talent for making people laugh with a pithy phrase that sums up a situation. A student of human behavior. Independence is your way of life. You will sacrifice even a close personal relationship in order to maintain it. Trying to fence you in or tie you down won't work. If you feel trapped, you try to break free at any cost. And I love that Aquarius represents future hopes and wishes. Isn't that beautiful? Let's complete there and just close our eyes, softening the gaze, tuning into the breath. Inhaling and exhaling. Using this technology of the breath to connect to the present moment. Becoming mindful, aware, the here and now, this moment. Feeling your seat on the earth, connecting to your spine, opening up through the axis of your being, becoming aware of the crown of your head, perhaps rolling up the eyes, engaging the optic nerve to gaze up between the eyebrows. So you breathe here, activating Ajna Chakra, the mental command center. We're going to do a little time travel into the future. So projecting on your Chitakasha, the blank space behind the forehead, as if it were a movie screen. Imagining, visualizing, or even just feeling into this moment and imagining yourself going over to the elevator, and pressing the first floor. Going down 10, 9, 8, 7, sinking down 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Getting out of this elevator on the first floor and walking to a flight of stairs, and walking down this flight of stairs step by step, descending down deeper into a amethyst crystal cave. Just walking deeper down the staircase until you arrive into this beautiful amethyst cave, where you see a bed of smooth amethyst. You're going to go and lie down on this bed. And as you lie down on this bed, I want you to bring forward in your imagination a field of flowers. You're going to walk into that field of flowers and bring forward your future self 10 years from now. You're going to see yourself 10 years from now having accomplished all of your hopes and wishes for the future. Seeing yourself in this field having accomplished all your future wishes and dreams, this progressed version of your highest self even. How are you walking? How do you feel? What's the expression on your face What are you wearing? Who are you with? What are you expressing? Just noticing what it's like having achieved your hopes and wishes for the future 10 years from now. And continuing to walk through the field and seeing a cabin door, going into this cabin. And once you walk into the room, you're going to visualize, imagine, see a version of yourself 20 years from now. Having achieved all of your hopes and wishes 20 years from now, bringing forward this highest version of self, this future version of yourself. And see what this version of yourself 20 years from now tells to, what does it say to you? What is the wisdom and knowledge that it's imparting? If I only knew then what I knew now. What is the wisdom that this version of yourself, 20 years into the future, having achieved everything, what does it want to share with you? And both versions of yourself, the one that's 10 years from now and 20 years from now, they're going to just merge at the cellular level, becoming one, bringing them into wholeness. And now just feeling yourself becoming one with this future version of yourself, having achieved all your hopes and dreams, and receiving the medicine, the clarity, and the wisdom that this future version of self wants to share with you. And spending some time contemplating this experience of future projecting as you gently walk back through the meadow, get back in the elevator after climbing up the staircase and pressing the first floor, arriving back in the room, coming back into your body,